Welcome to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. I'm Rick Rittman, your hardworking mortgage guy, and I've been in mortgages in real estate for over 34 years. I've helped over 5,200 folks finance their homes, maybe 5,300 now. My team and I believe in custom tailored loans, not the one-size-fits-all approach. We believe there is the right mortgage for you, and we believe we are the team to deliver it.
And I'm Ian Arnold, part of Rick's hardworking mortgage team. I've been in the financial industry for 15 years, helping customers rebuild their credit, get the best possible interest rate. And I also have a passion helping you secure your overall real estate dreams and also hopefully pay off your home even faster.
And if for the most up-to-date information on mortgages or the Indy's real estate market, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And today we have Heather Ludlow.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Great. And you're with what company?
I'm with Nest Realty.
Okay.
Our main office is Avon, Indiana.
All right.
Yeah.
So you serve the west side, obviously, but
Yeah.
probably more than that. I think I even saw a map where you go way up northern Indiana. Is it?
I have some referral partners up there
Okay.
that I would probably refer that out to.
Okay.
But definitely, the metro area, north. I do go north side.
Okay.
But not too far north.
Not too far north. Yeah. I think that makes sense because you don't
Yeah.
really know the market. So
I want to know the market. I think it's better for my clients that way.
and it's
Serves
referral
them.
partners. If you have the right referral partners, that makes all the difference. Because I think people, if they're moving from Indianapolis or our area to, I don't care, Kansas City or Seattle, no matter where, having an agent here who can refer you to somebody is a big deal.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah. Then
Most
you get a
definitely.
good, solid agent.
You do.
Yeah.
Knows their local market.
Yes.
And that can be imperative. And
Absolutely. Yes.
absolutely.
So what did you do before real estate? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? Those type of
Sure.
things.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Danville, Indiana.
Okay.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with the
Yes.
area. Okay. So just outside of Indy, about 30 minutes
Yeah.
or so. So born and raised there, went to high school there. And then went to IUPUI for a little while, went to Ivy Tech for a little while. All the while, I was always in some sort of a sales role or position. Actually, my grandparents owned a Maytag business. So they
really?
sold washers, dryers, all the appliances, right? So they were pretty big in Plainfield at the time. And when I was just out of high school and in college, I worked on their sales floor, helped with scheduling service calls, just jack of all trades there, but it taught me a lot.
Right.
And then from there, I also waited tables. I was a bartender. I managed, a nice restaurant. And then I also worked for a staffing company. I've always been in a sales role, I guess, at the end of the day. So that's kind of where I was at prior to delving into real estate.
Restaurants is a good. My first job while I was going to school I was a bartender. you know, and it's a good job to learn how to communicate to people, talk to people, hone some of those, not that we weren't social already, but, hone those
skills.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Helps a lot.
It really did.
Okay. So there's probably a story behind how you got into real estate. So how
Yes.
did you get into real estate?
Yeah. So I was working for a staffing company at the time, and I ended up getting pregnant with my first child. Had a really crazy pregnancy,
Okay.
very high risk. We don't have enough time to talk about that here, but ended up having to go on bed rest for pretty much my entire pregnancy.
Really? Wow.
And then my son was born at 27 weeks. So we were in the hospital about 3 months before we could take him home.
Wow.
And when he had a lot of health issues when we did get him home. So I could not go back to a 9-to-5 kind of position. And even a sales position where I might have to travel a little bit, it wasn't in the cards for me. So I had a friend that I'd known for many, many years. She was in real estate and had been probably for, maybe 4 or 5 years at that time, and was like, Heather, you'd be great at real estate. And I was like, yeah, okay. I do like houses and design and all that good stuff. But, I know there's probably more to it.
No.
But I was naive. I did kind of, you look at the HGTVs of the world, and you're kind of like, oh, this looks so fun. I get to go show homes and,
Yeah.
and just have a great time with people. Well, turned out way more to that. But so she kind of got me started. Went to real estate school, and then started with Keller Williams, which was the company she was at. So,
Okay.
yeah, so that's kind of how I got into the business.
Yeah. So you started with Keller Williams.
I
Was that a
did.
good for you? Was that a good training grounds or?
I think it can be. Personally, it wasn't the right fit for me.
Okay.
But they're great. I needed, I think, somebody that could come alongside me a little more because I was so eager to learn. I was in the office every day, like just waiting for somebody to walk in and be like, help me, always trying to learn, but I didn't have like a true mentor there. So at that time I was working at a high-end restaurant and I was bartending.
Okay.
And I would help them manage here and there. And I couldn't quit that job. It was good money.
Right.
And I was helping my husband and trying to start the real estate, so I didn't have any money at that time. I was pretty broke. So long story short, I had some customers that sat at my bar, and they were very well-known real estate agents. And I loved them. They were great. We would talk all the time. They knew I was in real estate. And then one day I just said, Rob, could I take you out to lunch? And that's kind of how I found my mentor.
Okay. That's awesome.
As far as that goes. So my mentor, Robin, and I went out to lunch, and it just kind of started organically from there. They weren't really looking for anybody to join their team, but I just fit. And I wanted to learn. And so I ended up joining their team and then switching brokerages. They were at Remax. And so, that's where I've been up until last June.
Okay.
So until we started our own brokerage.
Yeah. But it's really important to have that mentor.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be nearly as successful as I am now without that.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we see when we talk to people. It's like one of the biggest things is you got to have finding the right fit.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is the mentor the people that you work with. Because with that, you actually learn the business. And especially if you're
right.
eager like you were to learn.
Yeah. I mean, they don't, in school, they teach you legalities.
Yeah. Not how to do business.
Not how to do business.
No.
I really did feel kind of thrown to the wolves. And so that was super helpful to have a mentor, walk alongside me, and it was awesome.
So how did you end up get going? Was it just your just your influences around you, or was it something else?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I just went full force and got myself out there. I didn't want to be a secret agent, let everybody know. I think it did help that I worked at a bar, because I did, like, some of my first clients were people that sat at my bar, because they knew me, they liked me, they trusted me.
Right.
And knew that I would, I was going to work super hard for them. I never was like, I know it all. I would tell them, if I don't know an answer to a question, I'll go find it.
Right.
And that's the same way to this day.
So how important is it to get out there? Because that's kind of what you did. How important is that for somebody?
I think it's super important. I think nobody's going to know if you don't tell them.
Right.
I think, I'm big on social media, and I think that's a super important thing. Things like this, podcasts, and that it's the difference between having sales and not having sales, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, one of the reasons I asked is I have my personal trainer is he got his license.
Mm-hmm.
He had a guy sponsor him and did that. And he got his license. He's just starting in real estate, but he's still a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And his worry, I think, is what a lot of people have. And that is, who's going to work with me? I'm a personal trainer. They're not going to work with me. So he doesn't want to talk to people about what he's doing, which is real estate, but you got to talk about it. That's
you have to.
Yes.
And I think the more you talk about it, the more trust you gain.
Yes.
And then you learn more in the process too. And,
right.
People know that they can come to you for questions, and it just builds from there.
Yeah.
So.
The more you talk about real estate, the more you know. I mean, the more you learn, right?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
And it's why
100%.
you're in the office every day.
It's why I was just trying to soak up all the knowledge that I could, because honestly, I just didn't know anything.
Right.
I knew how to pass that test.
Right.
That was about it. So, yeah.
And
yeah.
HGTV didn't teach you what you needed to know.
It really didn't, sadly. I was hopeful. but it just didn't work out that way.
I'm shocked.
I
I
know.
thought it worked that way. What about you, Ian?
No, I mean, you got to watch the reality shows. Those are where it's really true.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Right. Yeah. I can't even watch like the Selling Sunsets of the world. They're not even true. I mean, it's hilarious to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've the only shows like that I watch is I've started watching one out of Britain
Oh yeah.
called Buying in the Country or Moving to the Country or something like that. And it's just because I love to see the scenery there. Their scenery
Yeah.
is spectacular.
Yeah.
My wife won't travel, so the only time I'm going to see Britain is on TV.
It's on your reality shows.
But it's interesting how their pricing is more like what we have today, which is they'll price a home and they'll say that this home is offered for 450,000, or above, basically
Yes.
taking offers at or above 450. And that's kind of been our market. But
Yeah.
historically, that's, we've always priced them and then we negotiate from there. But it's just
Right.
interesting how they just do it differently.
It is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have some referral partners in Canada, and it's interesting to talk to them,
Oh, yeah.
right? And like just see how their market is. And yeah.
Well, tell them to quit sending their smoke down here. We're
I
tired of it.
know. I know.
All right, tell them stop. We don't want that.
I'll let them know. I think
Yeah.
they're tired of it too.
Yeah.
Seems
I
like.
bet they
So,
are.
gosh, it's
Probably
been
worse
bad.
there.
Been
So
bad.
if somebody's wanting to work with you, either buy, sell, or just talk real estate with you, what's the best way they can get a hold of you?
Oh gosh, several ways. Phone is obvious. My number's 317-698-2311. They can text me, call me, bat signal me, whatever. And then email is heather@heatherludlow.com. Just try to keep it simple with my name there.
Yep.
And I'm on all the socials as well. So can definitely find me there and private message me and
Yep.
go from
So
there.
the number, if they can call or text, 317-698-2311.
Correct. Yes.
All right, perfect.
Yeah.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com. Or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938. And thanks for joining and listening to Indy's Real Estate Gurus. The gurus we interview share valuable insights. They reveal their strengths, personalities, and how they'll work for you. Well, we hardworking mortgage guys secure your best mortgage. Real estate gurus work hard too. They avoid problems the amateurs don't see. I almost messed that up. They listen. They find unrealized opportunities. If you're buying or selling a home, a real estate guru is a valuable asset. If you've been thinking of buying or selling a home, keep listening and definitely call one of Indy's Real Estate Gurus.
All right. So here's a question. So let's say you can't work for 24 hours, no phone. What do we catch you doing for fun?
I'm probably at the lake.
Ah,
Yeah, that's probably where I'm at. I live on a private lake, so yeah, we'll get on the boat and try to silence things. So if I didn't, I would just probably be floating around on the water.
what kind of boat?
We just have a pontoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
How big a
So
lake?
I live on Heritage Lake,
Oh, okay,
so I don't
yeah.
know if you're familiar
Yeah,
with the
sure.
area. It's a little over 320 acres.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we
certainly
do it all
have a
out
big
there.
Boat, but I like pontoons. When I was younger, I wanted a speedboat.
Yeah.
Okay, but now
Of course.
pontoon is all you need.
It's where it's at.
Yes.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
have how many people? I mean, it's depending on how
12,
big
13.
it
I mean,
is.
depending on
Yeah.
how big your boat is.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten about 12 or 13. I mean, that's a little tight. But it does work. It does still float
still
with that
floats.
many people.
See,
Yeah.
that's what I'd worry about because I was on one where it started to go down because they had too many people.
I've been there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a little scary.
Yeah, we threw the light ones over. I mean, that
Yeah,
was no problem.
just save the coolers, right? Yeah, you're good.
All kids, get in the water.
Time to float.
Yeah. I hope you can swim. Whew.
Yeah, that's probably where I'll be. I love the water.
Okay.
So when we vacation, we like to hit the beaches, and our family is just for water people.
All right, perfect.
Yep.
So what beach do you go to? Where do you go to go?
So we generally every year we go to Florida, Daytona Beach,
Okay.
Ormond Beach area is kind of our every year family trip that we take for sure.
All
So,
right, perfect.
but I love all beaches.
Yeah.
Equal opportunity there.
Now, you have a family,
I do. Yes.
so you have how many kids?
I have 2 kids.
Okay.
I've got a son, Cameron. He is 17. And then my daughter, Adeline, is 12.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're getting
They get a
they're
little
not
older.
old yet. They're still
Nah.
my youngest is 30, so to me they're
Oh,
not
okay.
they're not old yet. But
Yeah, yeah.
they're fun now.
They are fun. They're more self-sufficient, which
Yes.
is nice. They kind of, well, they're teenagers, so
Yeah.
sometimes the attitude's not fun, but
Yeah. I
but they're
remember
really
that.
good kids. So yeah,
that's
I'm
good.
lucky.
That means they had good parents.
Yeah, I hope
think.
so.
I
I
think
think
that-
so. I
that's
think
what
we're
it
pretty
means.
good
Yeah.
anyway.
I think you can always tell
try.
how good the
We
parents are
try.
by the kids, right?
We do our best.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, am I failing at this completely? But
Yeah. Sometimes you go, man, I don't know how those kids. It's so great when the parent. No, I'm just kidding.
hey, sometimes.
Hey, what I tell my kids every birthday, it's not your birthday. It's just I haven't done anything wrong and you survived.
Yeah, hey, I like that. I might have to start using that.
See?
Yeah.
Your son has survived 17 years as you as a parent. You're doing just great.
I feel the same. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
That makes me feel better, Ian.
And your husband is he in the restaurant business?
No,
No.
he is actually an aircraft mechanic, and he works for the
Oh,
Indianapolis
wow.
Colts in their flight department. So
Oh, okay.
he's got
That's cool.
He's got a pretty interesting, fun
Yeah.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think a mechanic. I mean, airplane mechanic is a big deal. 'Cause
Yeah.
they
It's a lot. I mean, he does a lot of stuff. I'm like, gosh, I would never want to do
yeah.
that.
Well, you can't have a car can brake.
Yeah,
Okay, you can drive down the road and a car can brake. You
Yeah.
can have an airplane brake.
but it's a little, it's bad.
Yeah, it's not a good thing.
It's
You know,
bad.
it's all right. The wing fell off. No, that doesn't work.
No, gotta have that, and it needs to be real functional. Yeah, so
Engines have to work, all that stuff.
yeah.
Very
So
important.
it is. It is.
So, what would you say your superpower or superpowers are?
Oh, great question. I think my superpowers would be listening and communication. I like to listen to people and really understand what their wants, their needs are, so that I can kind of custom tailor plans, much like
Okay.
you guys do with mortgages, to fit them, and so that we can kind of put something together and make the process an easier.
That's a
easier
lot
way.
like a bartender.
It
Isn't
is.
it really?
It
I
is,
mean, when you
kind
said
of.
it, that's what I thought. Wow, that's a lot like a bartender.
Yeah, it is. And really, when I think back about all of my jobs, it's kind of, they've each put a piece in place for me to be where I am now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And make you good at what you're doing because you had
Yeah.
all those skills.
Yeah.
So I'm sure another superpower that you haven't even talked about is eyes in the back of your head.
Yes, I also have those.
I figured you did.
I think all moms do.
I know
right?
it's something that grows. It must be when you're pregnant.
I think so. I think so. That's about the first
Has
time
to
I
be.
ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. So they're hidden, but they're there.
Yeah.
So what does your team look like? Is it just you or do you have a full team or
Yeah. So our office is apprised of 4 agents as far as that goes, but we all sell individually. We all will help each other out, like, when we're gone for vacations and things like that, but it's all individual sales. So right now it's just me. I do have a transaction coordinator. I brought her on a couple of months ago, and that's been an amazing decision. I tend to kind of want to get my hands in everything and not give up control sometimes. And so that I'm learning that I need to sometimes have other people there with strong skill sets to get that done. It frees me up to help way more people.
Right. I find that's usually the big issue. I've seen it in loan officers
Mhm.
and in real estate agents, and probably in every is maybe it's salespeople. We don't want to give up anything,
Mm-hmm.
but by not giving up anything, there's a whole bunch of things we're giving up,
Oh, absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And you learn that once you bring in that transaction coordinator.
Yes. It's life-changing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is, because my superpower is not necessarily paperwork.
Right.
I like to talk to people. I like to, you know what I mean, make
Yes.
plans for people and guide them.
Yes.
I don't like to be stuck in an office inputting things all the
Right.
time. So she's been an invaluable asset
Yeah.
because I've been able to, continue to grow my business and help more people.
Right. So in reality, you end up with more time to do what you really are, your skills, your superpowers.
Mhm.
And her superpower is probably paperwork and doing that thing.
Yeah.
And so she's far better at it, which is hard for us to
Yes.
admit, but they're far better at it than we are.
Yes. Yes. I told her the other day, I'm like, you are just like an angel to me because I don't know why it took me so long.
Well, you're going to be
You
paying
know?
her more with
I
things
know.
like
I gotta
that.
kind of, I gotta, stop doing that so much. I don't want to have to. up the salary much more yet.
So are you still looking to hire additional?
I think my next hire will probably be an admin.
Okay.
And so, I can have them working in tandem, but maybe an admin to help me with just, client outreach, things that you kind of get so bogged down with the day-to-day minutia, but you still need to grow your business, right? So I think with that, with marketing and advertising and things like that, to continue what I've already started, but that I can hand it off to them and know that it's being done in the background while I'm out helping my clients.
But what's nice is you started with one person, and then you saw, wait, this is beneficial. And now you're like, okay, so now I can see what other areas you can add instead of just doing all at once. That would probably, somebody who is basically very, let's say, a control freak, is it's hard for you to relinquish all that to several people, but you can slowly do it. So I think you're doing it the right way.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to ease into it, and it's working so far. So, you see those results and you're like, okay, this is making sense. Now it's time to maybe delve into a little more.
Absolutely.
So,
Well, we get caught up, I'm guessing, based on what you're saying, I think you're the same as I am. We get caught up in working in our business and not working. We don't work on our business. And so when you add these people, it gives you an opportunity to work on your business. And that's vitally important to do.
Absolutely.
And we tend to put it off.
Yeah, and we try to stretch ourselves too thin and try to be everything to everyone all the time. And I don't know you just can't operate on that long term, in my opinion.
So are you the broker for this office, right? Your business?
No, I actually, my mentor is actually our broker owner.
So she moved from Remax. And you guys all moved from Remax.
We all moved.
Okay,
so there were 4 of us, and we were a team at Remax. And then we were just kicking around the idea, really we had for a couple of years. It took us a little time, like, why don't we open our own brokerage? We kind of were just doing our own thing at Remax. I mean, we'd been there a long time, and we're one of the top producing teams. And so they kind of let us do obviously, within reason, but, we just kind of did our own thing. And we were just like, I think let's start something on our own. So it just organically happened that way.
It seems like there's a movement in real estate that direction. Is that true?
So, yeah, I'm seeing it more often.
Yeah, so am I.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing more agents who are getting licensed in multiple states.
I'm too.
Which I've never, I've been in this a long time. Until recently, I never saw that. It just was very rare. Sometimes in Florida and here, but that was about it.
Right. Yeah. I am seeing it a lot more. For me, I don't know if that would make sense, just because I like to be really specialized in the areas that I serve. But for some people, it really works.
Right.
So.
Especially if you want to spend, 6 months in Florida and 6 months in Indiana. And,
absolutely.
It gives you that. I met a loan officer who he lived in Utah, did all his business in New York.
Yeah, isn't that something?
20 years ago, you could not have done that.
No.
Even maybe 10, you couldn't. But today, you can do that.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Really work from anywhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he has to travel back.
Yes.
And do that. And you have to have people there to take
care of
on
those.
The ground.
Yeah.
The
boots on the ground kind of people.
Yeah. You definitely need that.
So do you know how because you guys have a unique name. So do you know how the name started?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So it's a fun, so we were actually at lunch one day and we were just spitballing names. My personal mentor and our broker owner, her name is Robin. And she was like, I've always thought it would be cool to have, my own brokerage with Robin's Nest or something like that. And so, Gina, who's one of our other agents in the office, she was like, that's perfect. And we looked at each other, at the same time. That's perfect. Nest. I mean, you build your nest egg. You know what I mean? Your nest is your home.
Right.
So many different plays on words there as far as that goes. And so that's kind of how it came to be. Just
and
it fit right.
Yeah. Robin's nest, the bird robin, a nest for a robin is a very well-made nest.
Yes.
So I happen to have everybody in my family, but me and my one son, are the other three are really into birds. So
Yeah.
I know lots about birds. And that nest is my wife's always like, oh, the robin's nest is so wonderful. So it's it actually
Oh,
is good that way too.
Well, I like to hear that. That's
Yeah.
cool. Yeah.
It's a very well-made nest.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a good nest to live in,
Yeah.
come see Heather. And to get a hold of Heather, you would call her at
317-698-2311.
Doesn't he just make the greatest transitions?
It was awesome.
Yeah.
Really
That's the
good.
only reason I keep him around.
Well,
I do
can see
think-
why.
I do things good every once in a while.
Yeah. No, and I can't. I don't. I'm getting old. I don't remember half of what I'm supposed to remember
It's
anymore.
okay.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I have to write everything down. I feel like that's the key to,
That's
key
the
to
best way.
success.
Yeah, and then if you can just find your note.
Oh, right. That happened to me yesterday. Yeah. And then, of course, I had to take a phone call while I'm driving. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like while I'm in the car and I
Yeah.
didn't have my note right in front of me. And I'm like, I'm going to have to call you back so I can make sure that I'm telling you this correctly. Yeah.
That's a catch-22, isn't it? When you're in your car, you're driving down the road, your phone rings. You want to answer it because you don't want to let it go to voicemail. But on the other side, if it's an in-depth conversation while you're driving down the road, you can't take any notes.
No, it's probably not safe to do that, right?
Probably not. Yeah,
Frowned upon.
Maybe you need a drive, like the Lincoln Lawyer. You just need somebody to drive you everywhere.
Wouldn't that be cool? I would love that.
That would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do have a 17-year-old son.
I do. He can't drive though,
Oh.
sadly. He has a golf cart, so he does drive me around in that. Not for long distances. That might be tricky, but yes.
Yeah.
But when my daughter gets older,
There you
that
go.
is a pretty good idea. Maybe
Yeah.
we'll invest in like one of those really cool vans and make a mobile office.
Put her
There you go.
get her a
Yeah.
little hat too.
There you go. Yeah, like a little chauffeur.
Yep.
Actually, if a van would be kind of cool. You wouldn't even need to wait. You just drive it. You get somebody. You pull over. You get back. You have a table. You have your office
The
right
whole
there.
deal.
Oh yeah.
I don't know why somebody hasn't done that.
I
See,
know.
I'm sure somebody does.
And you could paint it up. Have robin's nest on it.
You
your
could.
name. Your picture. You could have it all.
You could really,
Yeah,
you
I
could
would
really
never
do big
that, just
things.
so you know. I could never drive a car with my face all over it, and the information for people to contact me.
Me neither.
No
Neither.
way.
I feel like I'm a pretty good driver, but the first time I would accidentally cut somebody off or not signal, I'd probably be blasted or something. So,
I feel like I'm a great driver. It's everybody else who can't drive.
yeah. You sound like my husband.
Well, we did talk before you said.
Oh, okay.
So you know.
Okay.
All right. So, and Rick, how would somebody get a hold of you or I?
Go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938.
All right. And we'll get into the question of the week. And the question of the week is sponsored by, hey, Rick and I, the Hardworking Mortgage Guys, where we believe in helping and supporting you and your realtor by sending constant updates through the loan process. We don't like living in a black hole, so we do not allow it. All right. So here is your tough question.
Okay. I think I'm ready.
What was your first car?
Oh, it was a real nice one. It wasn't really. It was a Ford Escort pony. Have you ever heard of those? It was a
Okay, yeah.
yeah. That was the kind it was. I don't know. It wasn't. There was nothing real special about it. But it did have crank windows. Fun story I'll tell because this always makes people laugh. It didn't have automatic steering when I got it. It had an AM radio in it. So my parents were like, hey, we bought you this car. You're going to have to figure the rest out, which is good on their part. So I put a new stereo on layaway. And until then, I did drive around with a boombox in the back seat.
Yeah.
Because I had to have some tunes. But it was a good car. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, got me around. And
You can tell she's not a car person. She called it automatic steering.
oh, yeah, I'm not really.
No. It's
No.
called power steering.
Power
Just so
steering.
you know.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
She probably got a lot of muscle from driving that car because non-power steering cars are hard to.
Yeah, it was hard to turn.
Yeah.
It was hard to turn.
I have several friends who have bought old cars because,
Yeah.
my age group, everybody thinks they want the cars that they always wanted in the 60s and 70s, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I tell them all, make sure you got power steering, power brakes, disc brakes. You need all the good stuff.
Yeah.
And two of them have gone without power steering.
And they probably immediately regretted that
They
decision.
did. One sold their car and the other one never drives it because it
Yeah.
doesn't have power steering and they're
Yeah.
just hard to drive.
They're hard to drive.
Yes.
Yeah.
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 So it's a lot better. But at least you knew it wasn't power steering. It was.
Right. Yeah. I don't know a ton about
Yeah.
cars, but
Did it have air conditioning?
It did have air conditioning.
You know, what would
It
you
did
rather
have air conditioning.
conditioning or power steering?
Personally, I would rather have air
Yeah,
conditioning.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when it's hot out like today.
Yeah,
So.
exactly. So what would you say is like a misconception people have about being a real estate agent?
That it's easy money and that you don't have to work.
What's the reality?
The reality is I work all the time and it's not easy money. I am essentially a therapist for a lot of people, which I love. I love to help people, and that's why I do what I do. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of times where I've wanted to be present at things that I couldn't be because I was building my business out,
Right.
and I had to meet with clients. I think over the years I've learned how to manage my time a little more effectively and not have to be, under the thumb of everyone else all the time. And that's made me a more effective agent and a better agent.
Yeah. Because a lot of people get into it because they look at it and they go, it's self-employed. My time's my time.
Mhm.
And in some ways it is,
Right.
because it's you're free to get in your car and go somewhere, and all, as long as nobody, you don't have a showing or something, a closing, or, follow up, or, prospecting,
Right.
or any of those things going
Yeah.
on, then you can get in your car and go to the bank in the middle of the day, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So there is some freedom.
There is some freedom, which I love.
Yes.
I love that freedom. I love being able to, in a way, set my own schedule. But I do have, just like you guys, we have to work around our clients'
Yeah.
time as well. So there is that innate freedom. That's nice. But
What misconceptions does a client have of what a real estate agent does? Like,
oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great question. Well, I think if they are not, if the real estate agent isn't communicating with their client, they could maybe think they're not doing anything. I
Okay.
mean, at the end of the day, if their house isn't selling and sitting there and they're not, constantly communicating and letting them know how they're marketing and, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
feedback and things like that, I can see how a consumer would be like, well, what are they doing for me?
right. Okay.
So I think that's the difference between a good and a bad agent.
Yes,
It
absolutely.
is, again, that superpower of communication. You're
Yes.
going to hear from me, every week.
Right.
And sometimes when we're in the trenches, you're going to hear from me sometimes every hour.
Right. Right. Sometimes that's what's necessary.
And sometimes that's what's necessary.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But I'm never going to leave you in the lurch and like, hey, I haven't heard from my realtor.
Yeah. Yeah, we find that you call, even if there's nothing to tell them,
Yes.
you call them and tell them there's nothing to tell them, because people can build in their mind, if you don't tell them something, in their mind, the worst case scenario is
always
ready to
happening.
happen.
Always happening. And I kind of got that too, just going back to past jobs from the restaurant industry. You go to a restaurant and you get sat at a table and they're incredibly busy and you see that, but maybe somebody doesn't come over for 5 to 10 minutes. You're automatically in a bad state.
Yes.
Right? So I learned really early on, even if I was slammed, I would go over and touch them and say, hey, listen, I'll be right with you. You know what I mean? I have
Yeah.
somebody bringing waters over, and instantly it calms nerves, it calms fears, and the rest of it flows
Yes.
as it should.
Yeah.
So
As a bartender, I learned the same thing.
yeah.
You acknowledge them,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll sit patiently for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah. Easily.
You don't acknowledge them, they will sit patiently for about 15 seconds.
Yes. And you're still going to have to wait on them, and it's going to
Absolutely.
be a terrible experience
Yes.
for all involved, and you're probably not going to make that much money.
Right. There's going to be the low tip, and deservedly so.
Deservedly so.
It's not that hard to go, I'm sorry, we're really slammed. I will be with you as quick as I can.
Yeah.
And if it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes later, you go, I haven't forgot about you.
Yeah.
That's all it takes.
It's all it takes.
And it is very frustrating to be sitting there waiting for somebody and you don't know what it is. And you and I were able to transfer that to what we're doing and go,
Yes.
it's important that we're always acknowledging somebody.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
not that we don't, at least me, I fail sometimes, but it's one of those things we really try never to fail at because
Right.
it's so important. But every once in a while, you just, things don't
Yeah.
go the way you expect them.
Life happens, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's been a big thing for me, for sure. If I don't have anything to tell you, you're still going to hear from me. I try to do Fridays.
Okay.
You know, if I can. This is like a follow-up Friday with all my sellers, and then I'll have a day for all my buyers, and
Yes.
you know, so they can ask me questions, and yeah, there you go.
'Cause sometimes they won't call and ask, but if you
They're
call
worried
them,
they're bothering me.
Yes.
You're not bothering me.
Yes.
It's fine. You
Yeah.
can call me anytime. And if I can't answer at that point, I'll call you back.
Right.
You'll hear back from me today.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's important. It's important to have somebody with your knowledge and experience, and also with your mentor with their experience, and also probably the people you work with, because there's mentors on our same level that can,
Yes.
our friends can be mentors. People, and the owner can be a mentor, but you can also be a mentor to them. So there's a lot of mentors, and if you have experienced people, they've seen things you haven't, you've seen things they haven't, so you have great people to bounce things off of.
Absolutely. And I think that's why our group works so well together, because that's literally how we are. You know, like I might say to Robin or Tony, I've never seen this before. Can you look at this and give me your insights? Or I might say that Gina, we always are bouncing ideas off each other. So while I have a decade of experience, I really feel like I might have 40 or 50 years of experience combined with everyone.
Yes.
You know, so you have those. Yeah, it's so much more beneficial for everybody.
All right.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I just wanted to hear about some of the experiences.
Go
So,
ahead.
Oh,
what was one of your favorite memories of being a realtor?
Oh gosh. I have several. So my very first deal was with one of my son's therapists. He has physical therapy, speech therapy. It was a speech therapist, and it was just, I don't know. It was my first deal, so I'll never forget that, right? I had no clue what I was doing, but she trusted me. I did have people alongside of me to help me and all that good stuff. And over the years, I mean, she's a wonderful referral partner for me now. I've helped her buy and sell several times. So, and we're friends. You know what I mean? I made friendships. So, I tend to do that with my clients and I kind of tell them up front, we're probably going to end up being friends after all this is said and done. So that's one. I've had a lot of crazy experiences too. I mean, I think we all have. You never know what's around the corner, but that's probably my favorite deal because she's just been such a great source of, I mean, friendship, number one, but then also, you kind of build that pipeline of people that, believe in you and trust you. And she trusted me from the beginning.
Right.
So that means a lot.
Yeah. And that's something that I think a lot of new agents struggle with is just because you're a real estate agent, you've become a real estate agent, doesn't even mean your family will use you.
Oh, right. I know. Yeah.
You know? And I think that for me, I tell new people in the mortgage industry, and I think for real estate agents, same when I told my personal trainer is now a real estate agent, I said, listen, the one thing you got to go learn everything. Mm-hmm. You got to go get the knowledge because your knowledge will overcome your inexperience.
Yes. Yes.
As soon as they talk to you, especially we've had people on, we had a real estate agent on. The youngest when she started she was 18 years old. Can you imagine starting in real estate at 18 years old?
I didn't even know who I was at 18 years old.
Yeah.
No, that's amazing. I think it's awesome.
And she's struggled, but she's doing extremely well.
Yeah.
And her husband also is a real estate agent. He started at 21.
Wow.
So they were really, really young. But what they did is they went and got knowledge, and that's how they had great mentors.
Yes.
Number one, you have to have great mentors. Mm-hmm. And number two, you got to go get the knowledge because that's how you overcome your inexperience with mentors that you can sell.
Yes.
And knowledge, so people go, oh, they do know what
they're doing. They are valuable.
Yes, because you could have been the daughter of a real estate agent, and you may be 18 years old, but for the last 16 years you've spent 16 years with your mother or father learning real estate. It doesn't mean you're inexperienced.
Right.
Yeah. But you got to communicate that.
You have to communicate that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so you were what, 12 when you got started? You said you've been doing this?
Yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm 44 now, so I was almost 34 when I got started. When I started going to school, because I've been doing it 10.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that's right, a decade. Yeah.
Yeah. But let's go with the 22. We'll just say 12.
You're 12. You're 22.
I like that better. Yeah.
Well, I tell you, the older I get, the younger everybody looks.
Same here. Yeah.
It's unbelievable. We'll go into a store and it's like, that they couldn't be over fifth grade. How can they be
No.
working?
How can they be purchasing alcohol?
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Oh, by your guys' math standards, you were selling people alcohol at the age of 12. So
I mean, true. That is true.
She had a license. She had her server's license.
Fine.
Yeah,
It
it's
was fine. Yeah.
Back then, you could do that.
It's totally fine.
So what would you say the most common reason somebody fails in real estate? Because so many, what is 90% fail in the first 3 to 5 years?
It's a pretty high number, isn't it? I would think, you just have to have that work ethic. You have to always be, like we've just talked, you have to always be learning. When you start, my philosophy is if I'm not learning, I'm dying, right? So that's very key, I think, in this industry. Is just always being willing to learn, always being willing to, find things out, to seek people out. You can't be afraid to talk to people.
No, you can't, can you?
No, you cannot. I think a lot of people just, think it's going to be a little easier than it really is. And you really have to hit the ground, boots on the ground, get out there, get seen, get the knowledge. And if you're not doing that, it's just not, it's not going to be the right fit for you.
Right.
I don't think, if you're not willing to really work really hard. I mean, when I first started out, I was working probably 70, 80 hours a week, honestly. And
Yeah,
some days
and
some weeks I still do that.
Right.
I mean, I was up until like sometimes midnight, putting things together, and my husband would be like, "Are you coming to bed?" Well, I will when I'm done. I mean,
Right.
this is time, time is of the essence here. So
That's why you have a transaction coordinator now.
yes. And I don't have to I won't stay up till midnight anymore.
I can't.
I can't either. I really can't. I don't know what happened, but about
Don't look
8 or
at me like that, Ian.
I
like to
can't
be
say
in-
anything.
yeah.
What is it? For the 4th of July, I'd let off some fireworks for my kids or whatnot. My kids are 8 and 6, so
Yeah.
they're not staying up too late.
Right.
About 10 o'clock, I'm like, we finally put them to bed, and that's late for them. And my wife and I look at each other and we go, "Yeah, you ready for bed? Yeah, all right, let's go."
That sounds about like our house too.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10's really late for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I like to be in bed by about 9 if I can be.
Kids change the whole entire thing.
They
Once you have
really
kids,
do.
staying up late is like, no, let's just go to bed.
I'd rather not. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is weird for people who are bartenders and worked in
Oh,
restaurants. I worked at a bar where I got home at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh wow. Yeah.
We closed at 4,
I know.
and you had
Yeah.
to clean up.
Yeah.
And by the time you got home, it was really early.
Early in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I could do that. Today, I don't think I could.
I don't think I could.
I don't know if I
either.
could. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, what is owning real estate? This is a question Ian likes, and I really like it. I've kind of stole it from him. What does owning real estate do for a family or a person, especially the first-time home buyer? What does it do for them?
Oh my gosh, I think it sets them up on such a great path, especially if they have some good guidance with their agent, their lender, and the team that's around them. Buy in the right time period and in the right place. And, if you're a first-time home buyer, that's probably not going to be your forever home, right? But it sets you up for generational wealth.
Right.
And it can.
Yes.
And I just look at that like I get to help people every day buy and sell, but it's so much more than that because they could really pull themselves out of a bad situation. You can build that. It's just wealth building,
Yes.
Yeah.
And it also, when you own over renting,
Mm-hmm.
there's a whole different, what do you call that? I don't know, feeling. There's a whole different.
Yeah, it's something it's yours.
It's yours.
Yeah, it's yours. It's something you put some roots down.
Yes.
I think that can change a trajectory of a family completely
Yes.
in a great way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where you live changes your life.
totally.
It changes your kid's life,
It does.
right?
Yeah.
Where they go to school changes their life. So where you live makes a difference.
Yeah.
Who they hang out with because of where you live can change their life,
It can. It can.
and for the good and the bad. So it's really important
Mm-hmm.
that you buy, that people buy the right home in the right spot, because it does. It's it's not only financial, but it makes a huge difference in your life.
It does. It does. And that's something I always try to keep in the back of my mind, even if it's a first time home buyer or somebody that's bought 15 or 20 times, I always talk about resale value and you know what I mean?
Yes.
Things like that, because I don't want you ever stuck in a bad situation if we can help that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And resale value is vitally important. Although I'm a finance guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't actually believe it's the most important.
Yeah.
I think it's important, but I think it's more important to buy the right home that's right for your family, unless you're going to stay there a year, 2, 3 years. Then it makes a big difference.
Yeah.
You got to make sure you buy the right house. When I was younger, because I'm really a finance guy, and so I sold new homes for a builder, and I mean, my thing was buy the cheapest home in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what you know.
That's what you did.
Do these things, and these things.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that get your value back, and that's all you got to do. But people would come in and they'd spend. I remember telling one person, they said, what do you think? I said, well, you're spending more money than anybody else is here. I said, if you're going to stay here for a long time, it can make perfect sense. If you're not going to be here very long, then I would not do this.
Right.
I'd love to sell you the house, but I wouldn't do it.
Right.
Well, they ended up getting divorced.
Oh.
And he called me and he goes, and he said, yeah, we got to sell and da-da-da. And he goes, yep, you told us we weren't going to be there long, that this was the wrong thing to do. And you were right.
Yeah.
But he wasn't mad at me.
Yeah.
'Cause I told him.
Yeah. You communicated,
Yes,
right? I
right.
mean, you told them, hey, listen,
Yeah.
here's pros and cons.
Pros and cons. And there is to buying, but man, the value, if you buy, what 2 years ago, we went up by 17, 18%,
Yes.
even in Indiana.
In Indiana.
Yeah. I always thought we were a 3%, but I guess our average is more like 4 to 5%.
Yes.
Yeah, it's close to 5.
It's close
Yeah.
to 5. Yeah.
So 5% means that if somebody buys a $200,000 house, next year it's worth 210.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the next year it's worth 222.5.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yeah.
Something
yeah.
like that.
Something like that.
It just keeps going up.
It does.
And with that, their mortgage is getting paid down.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen with rent.
No.
Rent just goes up.
Yeah. And
Right.
you have something
Yes.
to show at the end of the day.
Yes.
Yeah. You can make your own.
Yeah.
So.
How has owning a home change your life?
Oh my gosh, in so many ways. It's made me I feel like I'm really adulting, right?
She finally grew up.
I feel like I'm actually an adult now. Yeah, so that way, but I mean, for us, I mean, we were able to sell our previous home and make a lot of money on it, and then build our dream home. I mean,
Yes.
and then we also, my husband and I have a rental business as well, so we're always looking for good deals
Right.
to do that on that investment side. So, it's changed our lives, real estate in general,
Right.
in a great way.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's improved it.
It's improved it.
Yeah. No
Yeah.
question.
Most definitely.
And if you want to change somebody's life, how would they get a hold of you?
Oh gosh, they should just give me a call, text me 317-698-2311, or shoot me an email at heather@heatherludlow.com.
And to get a hold of Ian or I, go to hardworkingmortgageguys.com. That's hardworkingmortgageguys.com, or you can call 317-672-1938. That's 317-672-1938, and follow us for more Indies Real Estate Gurus.
And a reminder, if you have any friends, family, coworkers looking to buy, sell, refinance, contact us. We'll be more than happy to help you. Heather, thank you for joining us on our show.
Thanks for
It's been a
having
pleasure
me.
having you.
Yeah, it's been awesome, guys. I really appreciate your time and having me on the show.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Branch NMLS number 33041. Rick Rittman's NMLS number 6645889. Ian Arnold's NMLS number is 1995469. Equal housing opportunity. Some restrictions apply.